signers! How much do sign language interpreters make? I was a sign language interpreter before I became an ASL teacher, and through my extensive research, I have found the answer you're looking for. So let's learn how to sign. First, before we get into the numbers, we must look at interpreter certifications because this is how an interpreter pay is based. I spent a large part of my years in Oklahoma, so I am going to use them as an example. Oklahoma is based on a 1 through 5 scale of interpreting and transliterating levels. These levels are based on percentages. The percentages represents the accuracy the interpreter was able to produce. Level 1 through 3 is one test, and 4 and 5 is another. Here's the breakdown. Entry level 1, 50% to 69%. Intermediate level 2, 70% to 84%. Advanced level 3, 85% to 100%. Accomplished level 4, 80% to 89%. Master level 5, 90% to 100%. Each of these levels should correlate with the importance and difficulty of a job that an interpreter will accept. For example, an interpreter must have a minimum of a level 3 to work in a school system and should not accept a hospital job unless they have a 4 or above. According to the Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation, the standard pay scale is $16, $18, $37, $40, and $44 per hour. This scale is used as a guideline for other agencies and freelance interpreters. Some may go off this rate, while other interpreters that are employed by full-time schools may receive a lower rate because they are receiving benefits. Unfortunately, there are areas that pay well under this rate. This pay scale is based on interpreting services being provided from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Monday through Fridays. So any job outside of this time frame will be paid time and a half. Also, interpreting jobs are typically booked at a minimum of 2 hours. But what if an interpreter has a higher level of certification? Well, first, as the profession has developed, it is now required to have a bachelor's degree to sit for national level test. Once an interpreter has passed those rigorous tests, they will have more job opportunities like interpreting in a courtroom, and along with that, higher rate of pay. It truly pays to have a higher skill set. For more information about national certifications, you can visit the website for the Registry of Interpreters for the Deaf, rid.org. This is also where you can find a list of each state's certification requirements. There is also the EIPA, Educational Interpreter Performance Assessment, which is a national certification for interpreting in the school system, K through 12. Now, let's look at what an interpreter can actually make in a given week. We will take a level 3 freelance interpreter getting paid at the rate of $37 an hour. We can't assume that they are working at a 40-hour work week because this isn't realistic in the interpreting industry. You might have a 2-hour appointment on one day and a 2-day job the next. So for this scenario, we'll say that the interpreter booked 6 2-hour jobs, a 1-day 8-hour assignment, and it should be noted that they will be working with a team. They are not working an 8-hour assignment alone. And we'll throw in a 4-hour night job. Here is the breakdown of these 24 hours worked. 12 hours from the 6 2-hour jobs, $444. 8-hour assignment, $297. 4-hour time and a half job, $222. For a total of $963. This would be an awesome payout for a week's worth of work, but unfortunately, this is before taxes. Since this is freelance work, the interpreter has to set back about 30% for federal income and self-employment taxes, bringing the total down to $674. Because of the uncertainty of hours from week to week, you might find interpreters taking part-time hours at video relay centers, substitute interpreting, or taking on long-term interpreting jobs that will have adjusted pay scales. Okay, I realize we spent a lot of time in one area. What about in other states? Well, each state has their own certification requirements, which is reflected in their own pay scale. Here is the scale of a few states. New York can range from $60 to $80 an hour, and this is dependent on the level of certification and the region that the interpreter is in. Texas is the same, but their scale is $20 to $70 an hour. Arizona can range $23 to $50 an hour, depending on their level, and California, $20 to $50, depending on their level. Through my research, this is the range that I found for these states. But of course, there are anomalies. Remember, providing an interpreter is not just for the deaf person. It is for the hearing person too, so they can communicate with a deaf person. Not providing a certified interpreter to save money is actually against the law. So, there you go. That's how much ASL interpreters make. I know, it's a broad range, but hopefully this gives you an idea what to expect if you're interested in entering the field. If you are interested in learning ASL and eventually want to become an interpreter, learn with us. We have several signers in our accelerated program that are taking college courses to become a certified interpreter right now. If you're looking for some additional support in the process, our program is a great place to look. And until next time, keep learning how to sign.